Ahoy there! Welcome to Adventure Calls. This is a Sea of Thieves podcast on my channel. I'm your host, Speaker, and today we'll be discussing the Legend of the Veil, the new voyage for Pirate Legends. But I won't be going at it alone, because I'm joined by my friends Derry and Cheeto.
Hey, I'm Cheeto.
Hey, what's up, guys? I was here last time.
Ah, yeah, you were.
That was me.
No. You've been in other videos, but not. This is your first introduction to Adventure Calls. So I'm gonna introduce you like I did with Derry. Tell me how you got into Sea of Thieves, and tell me your favorite tall tale and why it's your favorite.
Okay. How I got into Sea of Thieves? This dude named Speaker would not shut the fuck up about Sea of Thieves, and he wanted more players. And I got into the game. It was pretty fun. I didn't like it too much at first, I'm gonna be honest, but as I played it more and played on a galley more, it was super fun. My favorite tall tale is Shores of Gold, or whatever
Does
the
that
last
even need
one.
explanation?
Yeah, I don't think it does. Just a cool tall tale.
So as I said earlier, today we're talking about the Legend of the Veil, which is the new Pirate Legend voyage. But what do you guys think of Pirate Legend before this?
Yeah, I think being a pirate legend sucks balls, and you have a dark adventurer gold sink, and you have extremely obscure combinations you get to go for, which just isn't fun to outright grind for half the time when you've seen all the content and seen all there is. There's just no fun to it.
Sell 500 chickens, guys. Let's do it.
It didn't really feel like a reward. It felt more like a chore with the exclusivity because of all of the content. It wasn't fun to just grind out Athena's Fortunes. I'm still not even level 20.
Same.
I'm
I'm at level 19, but it is just such a chore.
Derry and I, not too long before the new Veil Voyage came out, we were like, let's hop on and grind some Pirate Legend. And each time we despised it. It was the worst thing ever. No matter if it's Thieves Haven run or actual Ashen Pirate Legend.
I remember the Thieves Haven run of hell where it took us 2 hours to find all of the chests on Thieves Haven. We were going mad and insane trying to find it because there were so many chests. We had to go back and forth. It was so mind-numbing. And then we didn't even get that much money from it either.
Yeah. It
wasn't worth it.
It's awful.
It has been, Pirate Legend for 4 years now has been rehashed mechanics from year one, which were the most basic voyages in the game, and are still the most basic voyages in the game. The original Athena voyage and even the Thieves Haven run are really not interesting to play, and they're usually the exact same things. Which is a great time to introduce the Legend of the Veil in Season 6. This is the new Pirate Legend exclusive voyage that we are all very excited about, I think. And it's essentially a tall tale, but a voyage. It gives you loot. It has all the story moments, the big set pieces, and it has a modular structure. So, with the modular structure, it makes sure the voyage is never the same. I mean, that's the hope, at least. Sometimes you get the same exact voyages on the same exact islands, but it tries to switch up the happenings with different voyage mechanics. So, Derry, do you want to explain the lore behind this voyage, how we got here?
We leave off after the latest adventure where we fight the Shrouded Ghost, and as you know, the Shrouded Ghost was going all over the place in between the Sea of the Damned and the Sea of Thieves with the Veil Mask. It was an ancient relic made by the ancients to do whatever it is that the Shrouded Ghost did.
Well, we'll discuss that in this video.
Yeah, and basically what we're trying to do in this voyage is go through a bunch of tasks and puzzles and basically normal voyage stuff to get these Veil Stones to power the Veil Mask and basically prevent it from falling in the hands of Flameheart. With the help of the Pirate Lord, of course.
So I just want to say that I feel like this voyage has taken a lot from A Pirate's Life, if you guys remember that. I mentioned this in my review of Season 6 and the Legend of the Veil, which you should watch. I think this voyage has taken a lot of the technology and the mechanics that they've made internally for tall tales and stuff. And that's clear in a lot of ways, which I'm going to keep bringing up. When you first start the voyage, the Pirate Lord goes on your ship, which we've never really seen before with a voyage like this. Jack Sparrow could board your ship in the Pirate's Life stuff, which I thought was cool at the time, and he would like comment on shit. He would fight with you, which we'll see more of that in this voyage as well. And the Pirate Lord explains that the Veil of the Ancients, the mask itself, can bridge the doorway between the Sea of Thieves and the Sea of the Damned, as Derry so kindly explained. So it has basically become an arms race between Flameheart and the Pirate Lord, Athena's Fortune, and the Reapers to get these Veil Stones. It's the Infinity Stones, guys. It's the reference.
So it's endgame. This is the endgame of Sea of Thieves. Half
No,
the Sea of Thieves will be wiped out. If
No,
if
seriously.
Get it.
I feel like the stakes of the story have really amped up with just the cinematic grandeur and the way that they're presenting the story through the adventures and how they've led into the new mechanics. What do you guys think about this? Because I'm a really big fan.
I think that it's a really good step in the right direction for how to handle these new voyages. It makes them so much more interesting than the rest of the voyages in the game. Because unlike Tall Tales, you actually get a good money reward for doing these.
Oh,
Which
yeah.
is a really huge incentive. And then all the new mechanics that they do and the modular structure that allows it for a lot more replay value than your average voyage. On top of the ending of the voyage, which is my favorite part.
Oh, yeah. It feels like an actual voyage for legends, like something you would imagine a pirate legend doing, like going on these grand quests to save the Sea of Thieves.
I think it's really fun to feel just more involved and
especially
the world in general. Like I think that's the best part. Like the voyage is really cool. Don't get me wrong, but it's just way more fun to like you get
It's
to
very
evolve
immersive.
as a part of the world, and I don't know. It's just that's like the best part about it.
You don't feel like some random pirates doing stuff. You are pirate
You feel
legends.
like a pirate legends, exactly.
Yeah.
Ramsey is calling upon you to do these tasks. And you're meeting with Bell and Suds and other legends of the sea.
Makes you feel important.
Yeah, exactly. So I wanted to discuss the modules, which are the actual gameplay snippets in this adventure. There's 3 modules every Legend of the Veil voyage. The first 2 are randomized. It's randomized from like 6 different ones, and it'll put you in different gameplay scenarios at the start of your voyage to get the Veil Stones. And the third one is always a super cinematic, huge set piece at the end. The first modules are seeing Suds, which we haven't really seen him involved in the story since Season 4, but actually anniversary update with the first set of Tall Tales. But it's nice to see him again. I hope you guys like Suds. I actually haven't asked you guys.
He's okay. That's all I can really say about him.
I mean, Suds is cool, but in the voyage, it's like just there. I mean, I guess it's cool. You get to like work hard and figure out where to go, but he's just there, and like you get to hear his voice, and that's cool. There's no like, you don't even get like a Stars of the Thief thing. You don't even get like anything cool like that. It's just like a card.
Oh, that would actually
It's like a
be a
cameo.
really
Yeah.
that would be a really cool kind of puzzle
Well, I think
with
they
the
probably
Stars of a Thief telescope and like trying to find your way. Yeah, that's a really good idea.
they probably didn't do that because of the complaints of that Tall Tale, though. Because I feel like
I don't
people
know. I
complain
think
about that a
I
lot.
think Suds' puzzles, which I will get to, are really cool. Like I think they actually test your knowledge of the world, and that is a mechanic that I would love to see brought back. Like that's more Tall Tale mechanics in the voyages, and that's what this
Definitely.
voyage is all about. That's a really good idea, Cheetah. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm a genius.
You should go apply to Rare and move to Britain.
So Suds has 3 types of maps: the lying maps, the picture maps, and the zoom maps. These are meant to test your knowledge of being a pirate legend because hopefully after you'd grinded your way there, it's not much of a grind anymore, but you know what I mean. After you get to pirate legend, hopefully you would have an understanding of the world better. What do you guys think about Suds' maps?
I'll let you go first, Cheetah.
As
they're
playable snippets.
They're cool in themselves. Like I just think they're all right.
They're the least cinematic of the bunch for sure.
Yeah, I think that's because you compare it to like the shipwrecks and other stuff. Yeah, that stuff is way more like cooler. It just is. But then you get to
Exactly.
Suds and it's like, here's your map. Go find it.
I
To
would
me,
say
like,
it's the most mundane, but they
Yeah.
feel very gameplay involved.
I still think it's cool, and it's step up because you gotta like use your brain
it's
really
definitely a
hard.
lot more interactive than a lot of even normal voyages and even some of the tall
Yeah.
tales at times, which I still feel like Suds is like the weakest of the modules, but definitely a welcomed addition to kind of, mix up what you're doing, because it always feels like in Sea of Thieves, it's just a lot of the same old with some of the voyages you can do. But all of this voyage kind of spiced up a lot of the stuff you can do.
I agree.
So yeah.
The next module is the Shipwreck Graveyard. It's diving deep into 5 different wrecks underneath the waves at random locations wherever it wants to spawn it. Really, the ambience of going underwater, interacting with all of the different shipwreck parts, and exploring. I feel like this is how normal shipwrecks should be, and they could easily transfer these mechanics in a very seamless way to the normal shipwrecks. Like moving paintings, moving stuff out of the way. What do you guys think about that?
I completely agree, and I do think that they should make a variant of the shipwreck called like the shipwreck fleet or something like that can just spawn alongside the normal shipwrecks in the game. And I do think that once again, taking from Tall Tales, specifically Pirate's Life, with the interactivity of the environments being shown in a lot of things in Sea of Thieves, especially in these shipwrecks, with nooks and crannies where you can hide treasure and you can go through it. My only gripe though is that the weird collision with the ship and the actual shipwreck itself.
Yeah, that happens sometimes, but I
Yeah.
wouldn't say it's that
It's
much
not
of an issue.
No, it's not. It's a little bit of a goofy thing though that can happen.
Oh yeah.
But
Cheeto, do you have anything to add?
No, I mean you guys covered it. It's just I think if they do add like larger scale shipwrecks, I feel like they should be rarer than just normal.
Agree.
Shipwrecks.
I think
Yeah,
a lot of these mechanics could be carried out to a lot of different parts of the game, but I like having exclusive elements of this voyage, if you know what I mean. If they did a shipwreck fleet, that would be interesting to like spice up proceedings in the open world, and I'm all for that. Trust me, I really want more additions to the sandbox or like rare occurrences on the seas. That's really interesting.
I think that shipwreck fleet should be more common if it's a shipwreck with a Reaper's Chest or Reaper's Bounty. I think that would be much more interesting and add a layer of danger to the area, because that's a high profile area, and add more incentive to picking up Reaper's Chests, because there really isn't much of an incentive to do so, honestly.
I think sirens should spawn
You think
on
so?
you. That just makes so much sense. As is, there's not really much of a threat when you're doing them. I like the siren enemies. I know a lot of people don't, but I really do. And I think the lore for this segment is that the sirens have pulled all these ships down and caused a massive issue, I guess, for the Reapers. So why are they? So the sirens just left, basically. And I think you could easily have like a scripted encounter every time you do. Or not every time, but most of the time when you do this voyage. I think that'll be interesting.
My question is, how the hell did they sink if the sirens can't do damage to our ships?
That's a gameplay thing, but
It's
That's funny.
gameplay.
It's funny to think of, though. How do they even sink?
the last thing I want to talk about for this module is something I think is interesting that some of the community members have noticed. I don't think you guys have noticed. Each of the shipwrecks have the arena liveries. And they have
They
paintings
do?
from Arena. Yeah, they do.
That is actually really cool.
And with the closing of Arena, what do you guys think about that? This is an idea I'm seeding now, and I'm going to bring up later. But what do you guys think initially?
Maybe the sirens didn't like Arena because
The
they
hit
thought
reg.
it was too toxic and the PvP wasn't good enough.
Well, I
They
think
did
this potentially implies that the Sea Dogs were somehow involved in
That's
what's
not
going
a
on.
bad theory, Derry.
Yeah, that the Sea Dogs are potentially
That's not
involved
a
in
bad
some
theory.
way in the story. I didn't notice that, but that is
These-
a really cool idea.
These shipwrecks are home to the Reapers. The notes that you get as a part of this voyage are intercepted from the Servant of the Flame himself, and he's writing about his fleets. But they have the arena paintings,
Oh,
and they have
is
the
it?
arena.
But isn't the Pirate Lord's son the
You're
like,
right,
head
yeah.
dude of the arena?
But arena's closed now, and all the people in the world who were part of the Sea Dogs are out of jobs. When you go to the Sea Dogs Tavern and you try to talk to them, they're like, "Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do now."
That is quite a. Maybe that adds a little bit more to the depth of the lore if the Pirate Lord's son is in allegiance with the Servant of the Flame as a twist, if that even does come up later on.
We'll just have to wait and see.
But we could just be looking too much into it too. But
we'll touch on this later.
Yeah.
The next module are the Haunted Islands. These are a module with Bell, where you are uncovering phantoms from the past and memories throughout the island. It's a combat segment, and when you pull up to these islands, the fog rolls in, and you can see the Sea of the Damned kind of skybox. What do you guys think about this and the atmosphere of the first part of the voyage, where you're lighting the braziers?
I think that as a whole, this one is probably my favorite module besides the final one, and going around lighting the braziers with little lanterns and trying to actually look for them, it is a decent, it's not necessarily challenging, but it's a fun way to explore the island because there's a lot of places they can be, on top of just the coolness factor of the lantern itself, with all the ghost aesthetic and all that stuff.
I think the really sick part, I feel like first time, it's so cool that you're fighting with ancients, that's their first appearance in game.
Yeah,
right?
that
yeah.
too.
Yeah, we've
really
never
cool
even seen
piece.
what they're supposed to look like until now.
That first time you're playing it's such a cool moment, and it feels like you're playing a Tall Tale, and you're actually fighting with the ancients, these mystical beings we haven't have no lore about, basically.
Well, it's like a war zone,
which is really cool, and
Aside
it really
from
sets it up well. I was just gonna say, it really adds to the whole arms race between Flameheart and the Fire Legends.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. The fight with the Reapers and with the Ancients is not the first time we have had an ally NPC. That would be Jack Sparrow in A Pirate's Life. But I wanted to bring up, what do you guys think about this implementation in this voyage? What do you think this says for NPC helpers in the future?
I think we might see more in Tall Tales. I don't know. I mean, yeah, maybe in Voyages. I just don't see how they could implement it into gameplay that's outside of that.
I agree, but I think we have to wait and see, because this year I feel is going to be very interesting.
I think we'll more so see it. Here's two theories of mine. Definitely we'll see it more in Adventures, because that happened with
with the Shrouded Deep.
In the last adventure where we had American Bell help us fight the Shrouded Ghost and Flameheart, or Flameheart's fleet specifically. But I do think that here's a little bit of a theory of mine. What if Outpost had guards?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, Outpost had guards that can, if you're causing a ruckus, they'll fight everyone who is causing a problem at the outpost. So it's more of an incentive to keep it neutral at these outposts. Though it could also pose as an interesting threat, to where you can alert the guards and then have them be a distraction while you go send your crew off and do this other stuff.
That's certainly an idea. I was thinking more so mercenaries that you can buy. I think that would be kind of interesting for solo players or underadvantaged players who are trying to learn the game. I'm not exactly sure how that would work, but I think they have the technology, and Rare are geniuses. I don't know.
The only issue would be pathing on a ship. Is if you were going to have them be on your ship, pathing would be annoying, because all the NPCs we've had on our ships are ghost NPCs of some kind that can teleport. And the only other NPCs that we've seen on ships are ocean crawlers in the first Pirate's Life Tall Tale, but that was definitely way more scripted than a normal ship in the open sea, where it can flip upside down if you hit a rock weirdly. So, yeah. It would be very weird to implement, and it might actually... I don't know how they do it, but if they did, that'd be cool without compromising the game's already kind of questionable hit reg and netcode sometimes.
Yeah, that's a conversation for another day.
Yeah.
One of the last points I wanted to touch on was what you guys thought of the Soul Flame Captain. I know he's not a major character in the story, but I am a personal big fan, and I wanted to know what you guys even thought that this character was, because I have my own personal theory.
Derry, you want to go first?
Sure. I honestly don't know enough about the Soul Flame Captain's lore. All I know is that he's just some dude who is some kind of manager in the Sea of the Damned. But I think his design is cool, and he's one of the more interesting looking ghost NPCs. That's all I can really say on him.
Not to be a contrarian here, but I don't like him.
Oh,
I feel like, I think it's kind of annoying they reused that costume. I wish they made, like, a new design for him, and I don't know, I feel like there's not much to think about him, like, he's a captain of Ghost somewhere in, like, the Sea of the Damned, I guess. I don't know. I'm just not that interested in him, and he hasn't really shown to be cool.
He doesn't really have much of a personality, that I will say.
Yeah, he's just like, get the Bellstone. I don't know. That's just me.
that's a totally fair criticism. It definitely, I thought it would be an asset reflip at first. I was like, why are they using this costume from the Pirate Emporium as a boss? Like, whatever. But the more I thought about it, with the Shrouded Islands adventure, it kind of made sense to me. So I want to explain my theory. It's a theory, this is speculation. I may not be correct, but I have a pretty strong feeling that I am. So we know the Reapers have an affinity for bringing things to life. The Reaper's Heart pets, you can find schematics for those at Reaper's Hideout. I think the Soulflame captains are iron cast bodies that they have imbued with the Soul Flames from the Reaper's chests. And the Box of Wondrous Secrets, I should say. And I think the Reapers have brought them back to life to store this Soul Flame energy, and by killing them, it weakens the Veil Between. By releasing that energy, I guess.
That is a sick idea. Like,
Yeah.
I think that's cool. It's just, I want to see that.
I agree, and that is complete headcanon, but I think it could easily be implied, just because, again, the Reaper's Heart pets, like, that just makes sense to me. And some of the dialogue from Flameheart Jr., or the Servant of the Flame, I should say, it just kind of makes sense to me. And I think since they're wearing, it's like an iron cast body wearing old pirate clothes, I think the Reapers imbue them with like the slightly sentient memories of like past pirate captains to serve under them. And I think that is very cool.
That's not a bad theory. That actually does sound cool and would be a neat little way to kind of tie them into the lore, because they really don't feel like, as our current understanding that is definitely confirmed, we don't know a whole lot about them, so it's not really like a concrete thing of what exactly they are. But if that is the case, that would make the Reapers a lot more threatening than they already are, that they're able to do stuff like that.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I want to see how that evolves in the story going forward. The last thing I want to touch on with the Haunted Islands is interacting with the Ancient Priest. What did you guys think about that in any way?
It's definitely nice to have all this build up for the ancients, all the lore that we like, what we do know about them, even seeing paintings on the wall, not to mention the Hungering Deep trailer where we see the ancients summoning a megalodon, just to call back to that. That was our first actual look at what the ancients might have been like. And then to actually see them after all these years is really refreshing, and I don't think they disappoint at all for what we have seen of them, and I really hope we see more of them in the future and learn more about them, because they've been kind of one of the bigger mysteries in Sea of Thieves.
So, Derry, you brought up at the start of this video that we didn't know the reason why the Ancients made this mask, the Veil of the Ancients. But we actually do, and that's explained in this module. We see the Ancients chanting, trying to light this brazier with the soul flame. These are memories, obviously. And the Ancient Priest is wearing the mask with the Veil Stones, and it's clear that they are trying to bridge the gap between the Sea of the Damned and the Sea of Thieves, and that is why they have tried to gather these stones to do that. Okay. And we see at the end of the voyage, after we beat the Soulflame Captain and the Reapers, the Ancient Priest, the memory, is sentient enough to give us the Veil Stone and say that they shouldn't have tried to bridge the gap, and that there needs to be a balance of two worlds. And not respecting the Sea of Thieves is what causes imbalance.
Kind of forgot about that, but that definitely makes a lot more sense, because all that lore dumping about like how the ancients kind of regret doing this, it's very interesting as to what the implication does to even why they originally wanted to. But now all we know is everything credit.
Yeah, I agree.
Used for bad.
Seeing the ancients do questionable acts is interesting. It adds depth to the story. So the last module, this is the same for every voyage. Module 3 is the Haunted Forts in the Ghost Garrison. You pull up to Flameheart tearing a rip between the worlds with a giant tornado. Upon arriving to the tornado, it shoots out bolts of lightning, and through the veil, Flameheart pulls small sea forts, tearing the Sea of the Damned into the Sea of Thieves, and the set piece is just incredible. After taking down those 3 smaller sea forts, the giant ghost garrison is revealed from the tornado.
A garrison?
Yeah, it's called a garrison.
Oh, I didn't know that.
There's Spanish phantoms screaming, shouting. There's entire different sections of the fort you have to destroy. It's a great set piece.
I like how he goes, the walls are crumbling!
Don't let them through!
Don't let them through!
And I don't know if you guys have played Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, but
Nope.
that is straight out of that game, and that rocks, because that game is sick.
I've never played it, but that does sound like it'd be a cool set piece for that.
There are Spanish forts all around the Caribbean that you can take over. It's like a Far Cry outpost if you've ever played one of those games.
I see.
But it's pirate themed, which makes it cool. I also need to bring up the music. Chloe and Robin do insane work on the music in this voyage, and especially this last set piece. I cannot get this music out of my head, you guys.
I love the soundtrack for Sea of Thieves, and especially a lot of the newer tracks that have been nothing but bangers the whole time.
This theme, these like 2 recent themes we got, like, oh my god, have just been absolutely amazing, and I always remember to turn my music on, because, like, I feel like this is some of the best music I've ever seen in video games, like...
Sea of Thieves
just
downright has one of the best
so-
video game soundtracks. I think we can all
Yeah,
agree.
Yeah,
I don't know
definitely.
who they got behind Rare, like, doing that. Well, I do know, but I don't know how they got them. I don't know how they were made to make such amazing music, because it's all so beautiful. It's so amazing. It's just amazing.
So, much like the sea forts, these smaller haunted forts and the ghost garrison are pulled through by memories of the Spanish. The voices being shouted... Spanish! The voices being shouted are clearly the Spanish voice acting, but when you board these forts, they're dressed like normal pirates. What do you think this could mean?
Well, I didn't even know you could actually board them. I just like
Yeah,
never really
there's
thought
like
about
actual
it.
environments to explore up there
Well, if they're
before you
normal,
destroy them.
if they're normal pirates, there's implications. There's 2 things.
Oh, I should bring up this. The people on the forts are normal pirates, and the crest on the side of these forts is the Sea Dogs logo. But they're forts of the Spanish.
This is getting
That ties back
spicier.
to the shipwrecks. They were Sea Dog shipwreck.
Yeah.
Yeah, allegedly. Based on
Maybe-
context.
What do you guys think about the idea that maybe the Sea Dogs, now out of a job, look for the next best opportunity in the Reaper's bones?
Well, I was gonna say that my original theory, but now it's obsolete because of this new information. That is definitely an interesting idea about it, but the implications that the Sea Dogs might like those shipwrecks were Reaper's ships, but there's also the implications that maybe there's some dead Sea Dogs that are now memories in the Sea of the Damned, aiding the Reapers from beyond the grave.
That's what I'm saying, because the phantoms on the forts are pirates.
Yeah.
They're phantoms, I should add.
I was more so gonna say before you said that maybe they didn't think that people would actually try to board them, so they didn't give them the Spaniard Phantom models.
Oh, no, I think it was intentional.
You
They
think it
actually
was
pay a lot of attention to detail in this game. There's like very few mix-ups with stuff like that, or like points where they don't think about that kind of stuff.
But that's definitely interesting about all that, and it definitely is super mixed. I never really thought that hard about the current voyage. So I'm not like huge on the lore. Like I obviously love the lore of this game, but I'm not like a
Yeah, I get you.
yeah, I don't know everything about it. But it's definitely interesting to see where the story goes, and the implications of this are massive when it comes to the future story and potential story leads and ties later on and mysteries to be solved.
Aye. So, after you destroy the garrison and put the final Veilstone in the mask, The Pirate Lord boards your ship and celebrates to the world that you have stopped Flameheart's forces for now. And there's a quote that I wanted to bring up that I thought was especially interesting. He says, "I may call upon you to use its powers soon enough." See the Damned expansion? Oh, what could that mean?
You see the damn map? Let's go.
I think that could be a possibility. I don't see it as unlikely, but I don't think it's this year. No fucking way.
The most likely thing that they probably do is have a adventure where you go to the Sea of the Damned, not too different from the Pirates Life Tall Tales.
But do you think they would do that in a time limited manner? I don't think so. I think for something as big as that, edition. I think it would be a permanent edition. And I'm all for the adventures, don't get me wrong, but I think, to be honest, I think...
well, if they put that much work into it, you might as well make it a permanent edition. Well, if that's the case, then they might make more Pirate Legend Voyages where you go to specific islands on the Sea of the Damned and do a tall tale story, depending on what island you go to. I don't think that they would make it like a free roam thing. I think they would just make it its contained area, depending on what area of the Sea of the Damned you go to. Or it could be something completely different, where maybe the Pirate Lord summons a fleet of other Athena's pirates from the Sea of the Damned and fight Flameheart with 2 ghost fleets going at it.
That's not a bad theory. I think there is definitely a lot of potential for where they could take this. I mean, the portals are all over the map, and we only use them for 2 tall tales. I think it's time we change that.
Yeah. Oh, side note, by the way, the rat is my favorite part of this latest tall tale.
Oh, yeah. In the tornado, there is a rat that you can see flying around. And you have to. It takes a minute to spot, but when I found that, like, God.
I still haven't seen the stupid rat.
It's also huge. If you were to
it's really big.
If you were to stand next to it, it'd be really funny. But jokes aside, this latest tall tale is probably the best in the game.
So when are they adding the giant rat boss?
Dude, that should be like...
we have the technology.
That should be season 14. See if there's giant rat once they ran out of ideas.
After captaincy, right?
Yeah, after captaincy, when
I feel like
that ever comes.
The Megalodon is just a giant shark
rat.
Giant rat.
Yeah, giant rat. No, it's a rat. It's a rat controlling like a Megalodon mech.
Oh.
And it's just kind of gotten to the Sea Thieves.
All right,
That's some lore. That's some lore.
Here's my pitch for the rat boss. Okay. So, you know all these times where you let your ship get flooded, the rats go across your ship?
Yeah.
They're angry at you. So, like, after, like, the 100,000th time, they're angry at you for disturbing their home. You should keep your ship safe. So then a giant rat comes from the bottom of the deck and starts eating pirates, and you permanently die. You lose your pirate.
Pirates?
You lose your save if you die, and just get good.
All the rats got morph into one. Like, they all team up and, like, link together, so it's just a bunch of tiny rats, and they form a megalodon, and you have to fight it.
You know, like the Joe Swanson mech from Family Guy? It's that, but rats.
Okay, this is getting off topic. What do you guys think about this voyage overall? I mean, let's get in our final thoughts, our review. What do you think about this as a tall tale, and what do you think about this as a voyage?
Okay, I'll go first, because I'm better. So I think, like, one thing I did want to talk about was replay factor. What's amazing about this voyage is that first time you play each module, you're like, wow, this is really cool, and this is adding a lot to the game, and it makes you feel really immersed. And on replay factor, it still manages to at least not be boring like the other voyages. Like, let's take a Gold Hoarder X Marks the Spot voyages. The first time you do it, it sucks. The rest of the times you're doing it, it's awful. But this voyage, it keeps it fun, because this is all just different stuff than what we get in the main game. That's the really cool thing about it. That's a thing I really like, is that the replay factor is gonna make it bearable to grind. And it on a kind of side note, if you're a Pirate Legend that is a big fan of PvP, you get a free world event you can spawn at any time to bait in players.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
And we are big on PvP, and we love meeting people and syncing people. It's a big part of our thing. And I'm really happy that this voyage introduces that.
I think, like, another great thing about the voyage, I completely agree with Cheeto, by the way. That is part of what makes it great. On top of that, too, the reason why I think it's fun is because it challenges you as a player on multiple parts of the game. Challenges your navigation, your ability to be observant when it goes in the shipwrecks, to actually go find loot. It's satisfying when you find loot. It tests your ability with naval combat and, to a lesser extent, land combat. The enemies in Sea of Thieves on land combat have never really been too challenging, but it's definitely not boring because it's fun. It's just like the other voyages. They're not really fun because it's the same old thing that isn't really challenging. The only challenging part is encountering another player, and like what Cheeto had said, at the end of it, you basically get to let the whole server know, hey, I'm doing this right now, come fight me if you want. Basically.
I completely agree. I think this is the best content they've ever added. I'm not going to lie. Season 6 is easily my favorite, and that's acknowledging Pirate's life and how amazing that was. I'm really, really excited for this year. Like, it has started with a bang, with some of the best lore drops, some of the best voyages, and just things to do in the world.
Yeah.
I couldn't be happier, honestly. As a tall tale, I love the lore, and as a voyage, I think the replay factor that Cheeto mentioned is a really big part of why we're going to keep playing this.
Yeah.
And why we're not going to forget about it. Any final thoughts?
Also, one thing I thought, and I think Speaker and I were talking about this, I remember when the Voyage had come out, is we didn't know if people would actually go to the world event if it was going on, like if people would actually like go and fight the world event that weren't doing the Voyage. But, you know, people do, and it's proven to work pretty well. Like, I remember going to a world event, like, with you guys, because we saw it. I think that's pretty cool, so.
It's been a while since a world event has felt like it's actually caught the attention of people. Like, oh, we gotta go do that.
The only ones that do is, like, the FOF and the Fort of the Damned.
Fort of the Damned, for me, I find that especially rewarding to steal, just because of, like, there's so many memories from like 2019 when they added it. God, that was one of the best.
I remember our all-nighters where we grinded out.
Oh yes.
Over the dam and stacked it, and then we lost it all. Sometimes.
So many times.
Yeah. I kind of want to say like a wish list too, just for future updates with this kind of quality. Update the Hunter's Call with this level of quality and level of voyages. The Hunter's Call needs something.
Yeah.
As the Hunter's Call being kind of like one of my favorite factions and just concept, we need to add new stuff to it on this level of quality, and maybe something for all the other trading companies, not to an extent like the Athena's Fortune.
Yeah,
just because
I think
it's a reward. It's
a really funny idea that we get tall tale level voyages for Hunter's Call.
Definitely, that's awesome.
I want to go to a random part of the map.
We need Merrick to kill Flameheart.
Yeah,
in the voyage, every time you play it, he kills Flameheart again and again.
Yeah.
I want to thank you guys for coming on this video with me, and I hope you'll return for the next time. This has been Adventure Calls, and I'll see you on the seas. Thank you guys again for joining.
Bye-bye.